Jalen just put the hurts on the Giants. The Philadelphia Eagles quarterback has been on a roll recently. Not only has he been putting up insane stat lines, but he's also one of the top candidates to win MVP this year. Join us in today's video as we talk about how Jalen Hurts has pushed himself to the upper echelons of NBA quarterbacks and his crazy performance against the Giants. First up, Jalen Hurts has done something no other quarterback has been able to. Hurts led the Eagles to a 48-22 victory over their NFC East rivals, the Giants. With the win, Philly was finally able to clinch a spot in the playoffs, and Hurts joined an exclusive club of one. He completed 21 of 31 passes for 217 yards and 2 touchdowns. In the third quarter, he got 77 yards on the ground and scored a rushing touchdown. The rushing touchdown was Jalen's 10th of the season, making him the first quarterback in NFL history to have 10 rushing touchdowns in back-to-back seasons. Even some of the most feared quarterbacks of all time, names such as Michael Vick, Lamar Jackson, Steve Young, and Randall Cunningham, have never recorded more than 10 rushing touchdowns in a season. Yet, Hurts saw it as just another Sunday, while also strengthening his MVP resume. In fact, Hurts has been leading in almost every major statistical category in the NFL this season. Hurts is leading the league with a 108.4 passing rating, but his dual-threat ability has been on show all season. The QB is on track to become the first player in NFL history to have a passer rating of 100 or higher, and 10 rushing touchdowns in the same season. And he might also become the first player in NFL history to have at least 50 throw attempts and 150 carries in the same season. Next, let's talk about the game and how it solidifies Jalen's case for MVP. Whether or not Jalen Hurts is the MVP frontrunner moving into the final stretch of the NFL season, there's no denying that the Philadelphia Eagles quarterback is building a strong case to become the franchise's first MVP since 1960. Yes, it's been that long. The Eagles dominated this game from start to finish, but that mean streak never would have started if Hurts hadn't gone 9 of 10 for 64 yards on Philadelphia's first possession. Jalen drove the Eagles to the Giants' 31-yard line on a 14-play, 84-yard drive that took 8:04 off the clock. The QB found 7 different receivers on the drive and completed his lone third down pass attempt for a first down to Smith. He threw 2 touchdown passes in the first half, one to Devonta Smith and the other to A.J. Brown, as the Eagles took a 17-point lead by halftime and never looked back. During the game, the defense sacked Giants quarterback Daniel Jones 4 times and backup Tyrod Taylor 3 times. Brandon Graham alone got 3 of those sacks to help the offense. Miles Sanders rushed for 144 yards and 2 touchdowns on 17 attempts. Devonta Smith had 5 catches for 64 yards and a touchdown, while A.J. Brown had 4 catches for 70 yards and a touchdown. Smith received his touchdown pass between 2 Giants defenders, who both missed tackles. New York was unable to produce any offense. Jones ended the game 18 for 27 for 169 yards rushing, a passing score, and a rushing touchdown. Moving on, some fans have already decided that Jalen is this season's MVP. And honestly, after the performances he's put on, that doesn't come as a huge surprise. No player has been more important to the team's success than Jalen Hurts, and after this game against the Giants, the MVP hype is only getting louder. Needless to say, the 24-year-old QB has justified Philadelphia's decision to move on from Carson Wentz in 2021. Bucky Brooks of NFL.com wrote in April, "Skeptics question if he can become a pinpoint passer capable of winning playoff games on the strength of his right arm." And a lot of fans had the same concerns. People just didn't buy Jalen as the guy. Well, he's proven his doubters wrong by playing at an MVP level for the entire 2022 season. He's thrown 3,157 yards, 22 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions in 13 games, while also rushing for 686 yards and 10 touchdowns. And the quarterback showing against the Giants only solidified his position as the MVP frontrunner, and Twitter seems to agree. One fan wrote, "I just really don't see how you can make a case that anyone is the MVP over Jalen Hurts. The man is absolutely lighting teams up." And honestly, we agree. Former baseball GM Ruben Amaro Jr. put out a challenge daring anyone to name a better contender for MVP than Jalen, whereas former NFL wide receiver Harry Douglas wrote that Jalen Hurts is his NFL MVP. Seems like it's a great time to be Jalen Hurts. Now let's talk about some of the top plays in Philadelphia Eagles history, starting with one for the road. Let's dial the clock back to October 2006, when Dallas brought public enemy number 1, Terrell Owens, to town. Following the nasty and public breakup the previous season, seeing Owens sign with a rival hurt even more, especially given the amount of blue #81 jerseys that emerged on SEPTA during the fall. The Eagles welcomed Dallas to the Link for an early season matchup with even more venom than the game itself. The Eagles led 31-24 after a Donovan McNabb touchdown pass to Reggie Brown, and Dallas moved down as the clock ticked to 0 in the fourth quarter. Drew Bledsoe had a second and goal from the 6-yard line and attempted to thread the ball to Jason Witten. However, Lito Shepherd intercepted the throw and carried it 102 yards for a pick six. It wasn't just about winning a crucial divisional game or cruising past the Cowboys. It was a measure of revenge against long-standing rival Bill Parcells, and it perfectly led to that old Cat Stevens tune. It really was one for the road. Next up, Miracle in the Meadowlands 2. The 2003 Eagles needed a boost after trailing the Giants 10-7 in Week 6. The offense labored throughout the day, and the squad needed a spark to avoid dropping to 2-4. The defense forced a punt with less than 2 minutes remaining, giving us hope for a drive down to at least reach a tie. But then, Westbrook snatched the ball on the 16-yard line, dodged 2 Giants, and ran along the sidelines for the game-winning touchdown. Coming up, the Graham Brady strip sack. In all his years playing for the NFL, Tom Brady avoided being sacked 49 times. But boy, when he did finally get sacked, it sure was a thing of beauty. With 2 minutes and 16 seconds on the clock, Brandon Graham, who was playing with an ankle injury, strip-sacked Brady at the Patriots' 33-yard line. Derek Barnett recovered, and Jake Elliott's field goal 4 plays later gave Philly an 8-point lead. Then, one Hail Mary scare later, the Eagles were champions. Next up, Miracle at Meadowlands 1. The Eagles were competing for a wild card spot when they made a trip to the Meadowlands to meet the Giants. As the last seconds ticked away, Philadelphia trailed 17-2. All the Giants had to do was take a knee to end the game. The Eagles had used all of their timeouts, and there was nothing they could do to avoid defeat. However, the Giants had tried running a play 2 plays previously, and a fight had broken out during their attempts. Players were arguing with one another, and the Giants may have decided to continue rushing the ball as a result of some bad feelings. That's when quarterback Joe Pisarcik fumbled a handoff to fullback Larry Csonka, which somehow bounced right into the hands of Herman Edwards, who ran 27 yards into the end zone for a 19-17 win. There's a reason it's referred to as a miracle. That's because it really was. There was no skill involved. The football gods just descended in the Meadowlands, knocked the ball out of Pisarcik's hands into Edwards' arms, and handed the Eagles a victory. And there's never been anything like it. Moving on to Jake Elliott's 61-yard game-winning FG versus Giants. The Eagles were 1-1 and fresh off a loss in Kansas City when they found themselves tied with the Giants and on their own 38-yard line with 7 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Carson Wentz threw a 19-yard strike, setting up Jake Elliott for a 61-yard field goal attempt with 1 second remaining on the clock. Elliott absolutely crushed the kick, and it ended up being the longest in the Eagles' history, the third longest walk-off FG in history, and the longest ever by an NFL rookie. Talk about making a statement. Now, 4th and 26. The Eagles' first playoff game at Lincoln Financial Field looked like it was a lost cause from the get-go. Trailing Green Bay 17-14 in the fourth quarter, the offense faced 4th and 26, a bit too far for McNabb to scramble. McNabb brushed off defenders like insects as the Packers' rush collapsed on him. McNabb launched a seam pass with a step. On the opposite end, Freddie Mitchell caught it and was quickly popped by the secondary. While we all waited to see if that was enough yardage, many were anxious that the headshot had severely hurt the wiry receiver. The official pointed to the ball and tagged it. Mitchell stood up and celebrated, and the sellout crowd went insane. The offense drove into the red zone with seconds remaining in regulation, and David Akers tied the game. Akers finished the match and sent the Eagles to their 3rd straight NFC title game after Dawkins' long return of a Brett Favre interception. Of course, they lost again, but at least Fred X became a household name. Finally, our number 1 pick, the Philly Special. Picture this: moments before halftime, an undrafted rookie running. He then backflips the ball to an undrafted backup tight end, who lobs it into the end zone to the backup quarterback for a Super Bowl touchdown. It doesn't get much better than this. There have been several other unforgettable plays in Eagles history, but if you ask us, none even came close to the Philly Special. That's a wrap for this video. Do you think Jalen Hurst deserved to be MVP this season? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.